Guys, let's talk about the new crystal gems. I didn't like it. At least not as much as other people seem to be liking it. Now don't get me wrong, I don't think it's a bad episode, but I don't think it's a really good episode either. I think it's just kind of middle of the road, like so many episodes of the show have been in the past. Which is what keeps confusing me, because so many people are calling this one of the best episodes of the season, and I just don't see that. And this all boils down to one thing. Characterization. I went into extensive detail about this over on my Tumblr, so if you want to know my full thoughts on the matter, you can go and read that there. I'll leave a link in the description down below. I just don't want to get into it here too, and then have people arguing with me in two different places. I mean, yeah, I guess you could go read that on my Tumblr and then come back and argue with me about it here. Whatever, you do you. But very basically, I feel like the characterization of Lapis Lazuli in this episode was subpar. A lot of her general behaviors in this episode didn't seem to line up with her past general behaviors, and a lot of her interactions with Peridot here didn't seem in line with her past interactions with Peridot. At least her past recent interactions. If you count barnmates in there, they're a little more accurate. The plot's pretty simple. The Ruby ship returns to Earth and unloads its passengers directly onto the beach. Those passengers do not include the Rubies, but Connie is there waiting for Steven and does tell him the story of what happened while he was gone. Now, when I heard about this episode, I was hoping that we would get something like one of the old Monster of the Week stories where Connie, Peridot, and Lapis would come together to fight a Monster of the Week that was threatening Beach City and find out something new about themselves, that their characterization would be furthered through that struggle, the way that the characterization of the mains used to be furthered through similar struggles, that we would get another classic Monster of the Week Steven Universe episode, but from a different perspective this time, making it fresh again. But apparently that was too much to ask, so I'm left sitting here wondering, where are all of the corrupted gems? No one said anything about them having bubbled all of them. We know for a fact that they haven't because they do still hunt them from time to time, so why haven't we seen one attack the city for such a long time? I was assuming that this episode would be used to establish that it does happen, to fix that continuity gap. But no, it doesn't. Instead, they pretend to be the other crystal gems, each one of them taking on the role of one of the main characters. Peridot and Lapis use their powers to wash cars at the car wash, and then Peridot and Lapis get into a fight, and Connie has to break them up and get them back onto good terms. And like I said, it was fine. It was cute getting to see these characters try to pretend to be the crystal gems. There were some genuinely funny moments where they were trying to act in character as the mains, but weren't quite getting it and had to kind of criticize each other back on track. There was a wonderful scene where they're all running along the beach the same way that Steven and the others used to run along the beach in the opening and the way they did in the extended opening. I even liked seeing how far Perry's powers have come. She can now lift entire cars, which is awesome. And Connie's outburst at the end where she told them off and they all came to realize that they work better as themselves. That was a good moment for her character, but it was in character for her character. It was something I would have expected her to do, so I didn't learn anything new about her here. Nothing new was learned about her character because of that. And while I have no doubt that Peridot would want to pretend to be Garnet because she looks up to Garnet and respects her and values her wisdom and leadership, even if she wouldn't actually put it into those words, I can't imagine Lapis wanting to pretend to be anybody but herself because she was imprisoned in a mirror for thousands of years because she was mistaken for someone other than herself. Because she was mistaken for a rebel. Because she was mistaken for a crystal gem. That's why she doesn't identify as a crystal gem. And I get that the fact that she and Peridot were fighting over being Garnet was a little bit of an Easter egg, because from what I understand, both of their voice actresses auditioned for the role of Garnet. But that makes for a good Easter egg, not a good plot point. I just can't see Lapis behaving that way, based on her past characterization, and maybe, the crew is attempting to use this episode as a vessel to sort of reset Lapis's characterization, because it has been very incomplete and rocky in the past anyway. Maybe they're trying to do a soft reboot on her characterization so they can start over and do it right this time, and if that's the case, fine, that's fine. But they have to get her characterization right from this point forward, and it is still inconsistent with her past characterization. At the end of the day, this episode wasn't what I expected, which usually wouldn't be a problem for me if the episode is good, but I ended up finding it more annoying than I did charming. And if you didn't, that's perfectly fine. If you loved this episode, that's perfectly fine. It just wasn't for me. Like I said, I don't hate it. I don't think it's terrible. I just don't think that it's particularly good, especially within the scope of the really good episodes that have been in this show before. Though I will admit, after they break the car wash sign, the new sign that they make was pretty badass. I really liked that. And I agree with what some of you were saying over on my Tumblr. I would not be surprised if it turns out that thing has like a laser hidden in it or something, because it was made by Peridot. As per usual, though, I'd like to ask, what did you guys think of this episode? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below. Agree with me? Want to burn me at the stake? Let's talk about it. Either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.